Hi, my name is Ian, and today I will teach you how to play a card game called Yu-Gi-Oh! It is a card game designed for ages 10 and up, but I've seen a lot of adults play it, and I see a lot of tournaments going on around the area for it. The goal of the game is pretty simple, to get your opponent's life points down to 0 before they do the same to you. And how would you do that? It's pretty simple, but first you have to know what the card types are and the different phases of the game. So the first type of card we're going to cover is monster cards. There are two main types of monster cards. There are effect monsters and then there are normal monsters. An effect monster has this darker red almost color around the card text, and a normal monster has this lighter color. Now, for an effect monster, when you play it or have it in hand, the effect will tell you to do something extra that a normal monster would not have. Um, and effect monsters are really good because a lot of them have really broken effects that will help you win the game really fast, whereas normal monsters tend to be a slower card that don't really do much besides attack and defend. The next type of card is a spell card. They are distinctive because they have this green color on them versus the lighter tan color and the reddish color that you see on monster cards. Then after that, there are the last type of cards, which are trap cards, which are a purple color, and as you can tell, they all look different from each other, so it's pretty easy to tell the difference between effect monsters, normal monsters, spell cards, and trap cards. So when you start a duel, the first thing you do is you flip a coin. One person will call it, and the other person will flip it. And whoever calls it right will get to pick if they want to go first or second in the duel. And once that is decided, you shuffle your deck, which mostly will consist of 50 cards on average, and then you will draw the 5 cards off the top. That is your opening hand. After that, when it is your turn to go, you will draw 1 card off the top of your deck. That will be your draw phase. That is the only thing that happens during this phase, and will then go into your standby phase. Your standby phase only really matters when you have a card or an effect that will say, activate this during the standby phase, or this only happens during the standby phase. Most duels, I feel like you won't really need to have a standby phase. It won't be relevant. And then after your standby phase goes into your main phase 1. Your main phase 1 is where you can play most of your cards. You have your spells and traps, which you can play face down in the spell and trap zone, or you could play a spell face up. And then you have your monster zones, which you can summon a monster. You can summon a monster directly from your hand if it has 1 to 4 stars. And if it has 5 to 6, you have to tribute one of your own monsters to summon it. If it has 7 to 8 stars, you have to tribute 2 monsters. And if it has 9 to 10 stars, you have to tribute 3. And that's pretty much, you can only summon 1 monster per turn. So after your main phase 1 is your battle phase. Your battle phase, you can attack with your monsters you summoned or ones you already had. You can only attack with each monster once, and you can only attack your opponent directly, which is how you would inflict life point damage, if he or she controls no monsters. Otherwise, you have to attack their monsters if you want to attack. And then after your battle phase is your main phase 2, which is the exact same as your main phase 1, but if you already summoned a monster, you cannot do so again during this phase. You can only play more spell or trap cards. And then after your main phase 2 is your end phase. Your end phase is exactly what it sounds like. It's the end of your turn. Next is your opponent's turn, and you continue going through this flip-flop of your phases and turns till one person wins the duel. So what happens when you attack one of your opponent's monsters? Well, depends what position they're in. When you summon a monster, you can either summon it in attack mode or defense mode. And if your monster's in attack mode, the value on the card that matters is their attack power. If it's in defense mode, their defense matters. Both values are at the bottom right corner of each card. So if a monster were to attack a defense position monster, the monster that is attacking's attack would have to be higher than the defending monster's defense for it to be destroyed. Now, if you attack a monster in defense mode, your opponent loses no life points. But if a monster in attack mode attacks another monster in attack mode and kills it, your opponent takes the difference in attack power directly to their life points. So if a monster with 2,400 attack attacks a monster with 2,300 attack, your opponent would lose 100 life points So when you use a card or a card is destroyed by battle, it goes to the graveyard. The graveyard is typically right above your deck, and once a card is in the graveyard, it can't be pulled out of the graveyard unless another card or effect would say so. And that's about it. But now you guys know how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! You can go and duel your friends and mess them up. Have fun.